were 5 vehicles ahead of me and 1 behind me. We all stopped. Some of us got out to gaze at the spectacle that was heading west across the 99. We all were about 1 kilometer north of the 7-Eleven and McDonald's. And back then there was a swamp that went a couple of 100 meters west from the round, and he was about 80 meters in it already. He stopped and raised his hand up the side of the old growth cedar and turned his head for a look back. It was the first time in years I had felt intimidated and threatened by the way someone looked at me. My neck hairs were up, my heart was pounding as it disappeared around that old cedar. I was so scared and intimidated that when it went around the cedar, I roared at it for as long as it took to let go of the fear, and I was quite a bit calmer. Well, when I was done roaring, it gave me a return raw stand. That might be a spell mistake, so I'm going to guess it gave me a return roar. Everyone behind that car except the one behind mine had effed off because he had turned around and was coming back. I quickly went to the trunk of my car, opened it up, and pulled out my 7.62 by 39 Ruger and took position on the driver's side of the car. He kept coming. It was about 30 meters from the road, and I started unloading into his torso, barely slowed him at all. I had put 5 rounds into him, and he was still coming when I went to the trunk and grabbed the 50 cal single shot from the trunk and 4 rounds for it. The whole time he was making his way back, he was throwing trees and boulders towards the road. Just as he got to the road, I had chambered around in the 50, pointed out the passenger window, pulled the trigger, dropped the rifle, and scooted down the highway to get some distance between us, stopped, reloaded, and shot him again as he was coming for me. On the 4th time, he dropped, and that was it for my encounter. It was only 1 minute when it was all done, and 2 RCMP arrived at the scene. They closed the highway for a couple of hours, took my guns, and after an hour, some suits showed up with a 5-ton truck and hauled it away. The beast was gone with the suits, and it was just 2 RCMP. I asked for my weapons back, and they gave me all but my 50 back. I'll tell you this, the call goes in, and someone high up in the detachment has a number to call, and they have 2 people 2 hours from any scene. Why they want it kept quiet is beyond you or me.
Next day,
when I returned,
3 blacked out SUVs pull up, and a game warden truck pulled up. So somebody had turned me in for having it. And I told them what had happened. I told them what had done. And they said, "You idiot. Do you realize you shot the #1 most endangered species in the United States of America? And that is federal law. You can and will go to jail." I said, it got 15 yards away from me. It got aggressive. I had a 12 gauge. Sorry about your luck. Put me in jail. They said, prove it. Took them up there. They took hair. They took blood. They took all kinds of stuff. They took pictures. They photographed everything. He was a game warden, but he said he was, an investigator for the Federal Wildlife Game Protection. Something like that. He wasn't exactly a game warden, but he worked in that field, and he was an agent for him. Well, but they had a game warden.
We thought that we were perfectly fine going into that area because that's where they told us we could go with the expeditions. And they and of course, they turned out to be really good, but they're extremely aggressive over there. And, people were getting really scared. They didn't want to go back out the next day. They told us we could go in there. We went in there. We thought we were within our legal rights. And they went off real good without a hitch for a good while. And then, bang, all of a sudden, we are just basically stormtrooped. They left, and within 15 minutes, 7, 8 cars come pulling in there with guys and in their bulletproof vests and all of this stuff and everything. And of course, they knew where I was at, and they came to the trailer. They wanted me to come get in the car, and I told them no. I said, I'm not going to get in the car. I'll stay right here. And no, come on, get in the car so we can have a talk. I said, we can have a talk right here in the trailer.
I found a U.S. military-issued map today prepared and published by a National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. The agency's been around since before World War I. They were the agency that actually produced maps for the Cold War, for the capture of bin Laden. They are the ones that came out with topographical maps. They are a $5 billion a year agency housed in the third largest building in Washington, D.C. They employ 16,000 people. So they've been around a long time. They know what they're doing. This particular map that they produce is one specifically for the U.S. military for the Pacific Northwest in how to survive in wet terrain, specifically for Washington and Oregon. This map is camo in color for the dry climate of Western Washington, but it's also green camo in color for the wet areas. It's waterproof, so it can be used in survival situations if somebody were lost and at least had the map. The map actually has good information on edible plants you can eat, fruits you can eat, how to prepare them, whether you eat the roots, the stalk, it needs to be cooked first, or what needs to be done. But the map has a lot of great and useful information for anybody in the wilderness. This map, in my opinion, is as good as the entire Boy Scout manual, which is about, a 4x7 book and about 1.5 inches thick, but this weighs nearly nothing and will fold up small. It talks about how to build a shelter, water preparation, how to navigate using the stars. What I found to be most interesting are the dangerous animals you might encounter and what to be aware of in the Pacific Northwest, being the cougar, the moose, the badger, the black bear, the bobcat, the porcupine, the wolf. But what I found to be most interesting is this picture of Bigfoot or Sasquatch. Why in the world would a $5 billion agency that supplies materials to the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, and everybody, if it wasn't real, why would they put it on a document for all military personnel and their training of how to survive? Anyway, I hope somebody sees this video and it adds to the collection of evidence as to if Bigfoot is real or not, and if so, how do we bring to light knowledge its existence.